I got about 50 miles an hour. She's. Yep, just get about 50 miles an hour. I can go up on Monday morning. And then either Friday morning, get gas. Well, drive back. Oh, yeah. Get out first.
More
Complain.
conversation
Got 2 hours and you listen.
Hey, I took over 20.
What
so
are you
I'll
gonna
take
do
it.
about it? Time to go.
Never fill
Guys,
up.
you
Guys like me, sit around.
Yeah, that's the thing now. People don't want to fill up.
No, I don't want to.
So you can tell me anything and everything.
Get a credit card with airline
See if I can hear.
miles. There you go.
Is that part of being sexy?
You're gonna get something
Yes,
for
it
it.
might make money, right? Well, see, then I would never get any points on that thing. Right. They never fill up my. Right.
Just give me your card. I'll fill mine. You'll get all the points you want.
Wife, she took the flip flops off.
So we still got
Take the like right. And then she would take the house and set them. Turns around. Goes to town. He said, I'm down there about 2 blocks. He said, all right, I got a bird with which is my flip flops.
You're never gonna let her read that down.
Yeah, I said, "Well, you should never told us that."
Yeah, I know, that's gonna be all over the place. Oh, yeah.
Let's hope.
Yeah. Oh, get fish with him, maybe.
Talked to him a little while ago.
Oh, that's right. What did she find, both of them?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Because his boy Sam,
Yeah, well, I gotta find one, we'll find
and the
out.
2 Gray brothers are
That'd be
gonna
my luck.
play a 4-person team match.
I've got a
Hope they bring home
all one of these steps like she's got down there,
Mhm.
you know, that my sister from 2 or 3 years ago. I'll forget it from me. I dropped it. It's still,
It is-
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Well,
some of that stuff,
Yeah.
yeah. What is it, 2014? Yeah.
514. I heard 76. Yeah,
Amen to that.
That's beer,
His assistant texted me for a Zoom meeting, or emailed me asking if there was a Zoom meeting in the agenda. I sent him to us. You can do that fast. I was very helpful today.
How you doing?
Out of Sunny Rays. Huh? You're out of Sunny Rays. No, I've been on vacation.
Oh, yeah, I was out there for that, yeah. Talking about.
I figure you're out there every day.
That's where they have their. All right.
Don't say drive by. Don't say drive by.
Wrong term, sorry.
It really happened.
Yeah, it does.
It literally did.
Right where I used to work all the time, right by there. I'd always had issues.
Nick, how you doing? You got the nod tonight, huh?
Total booker.
Well, Chris normally gives a half-hour speech, so we'll expect that from him.
Lucas got that. Hey, he'll do yours for you.
Right, by drink at the staple afterward, right?
That's right, that's right.
Oh, these are the.
dinner for 30 years. Thank God it's only $10.
No, no, no.
Your advanced feature.
Yeah, there's, that's the. That's fine.
Yes.
How you been, Steve?
Basically, it's
Try to read that, because you can't get out. What's your breakfast like? Hot water, fire. Broke her ankle. She broke her ankle, then her mom passed away, so we're doing all that. Yeah. I'm cleaning out the nursing home. She can't get out.
This is a drainage system for
I got her one of them knee rollers.
the subdivision.
Yeah.
That's
Tried
the one
everything.
where our path of the 67.
One of
I follow,
people too, I didn't get to.
it's that old subdivision. Hayden, it connects, goes to Hayden Way,
Oh, okay.
maybe Taylor.
It's a pretty good project. It's like a $20,000.
You're gonna do it? Oh, My wife would keep people not too old.
Here, 3 months.
You've had more than
I haven't
that.
had trouble with the work.
Don, did I give you? Don, did I give you?
Kids, she's old, too home.
Is she any interest in the Casa?
No, she's. She's working 2 days out there, food banks, and she don't really have.
Call the July 2022 Town Council meeting to order. Have a moment of silence, please. Thank you. To the Pledge of Allegiance. Brett, you will start us off on this.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Willie.
Okay, Robert Jones.
I'm here.
Marissa Skaggs.
Here.
Shane Davis. Here. Steve Denny.
Here.
Chet Bab.
Here.
All present.
Approval of meetings from last month, please. Any questions or comments?
I'd move to approve.
Okay,
I'll second.
okay, I got a motion to approve the minutes in a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Minutes are approved. Clerk treasurer report.
All right, let's start with the accounts payable voucher. If you've all had a chance to look at it, you'll know it's quite large. And for good reason, we had about $600,000 worth of bond payments that we just paid. So that pretty well added to the bottom line. So that's why it's so large. And our general fund, as you see, is in really good shape. That's about all I have.
Any questions, or comments from the council? If not, I entertain for a motion.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Clerk treasurer's report approved. Fire department report. 37 seconds, Jake.
Half hour speech.
For the month of June, we did 72 calls of service, 23 in Pendleton, 22 in Fall Creek Township, 14 in Green Township, 2 in the town of Ingalls, 5 on I-69 in the town of Ingalls, 2 Adams Township, 2 LaBelle calls. Things with fire territory are moving forward. I believe we have another meeting next Wednesday at the fire station, 5 o'clock. Now we're towards January 1st. the new term.
Before we do it.
Yes, it is.
Any questions on fire department report? Thanks, Jake. Lucas. Should say captain. I'm sorry.
Cap.
You guys have the report. I'll just kind of touch on a couple of things. June Jamboree, no issues on our end, which is always a good thing. Got a lot of training done. We got requalified in our pistols, rifles, and Evo, which is our driving training. If you notice, our adult criminal arrests were higher than normal. Those are individual charges at 103. Just one call, for example, how these numbers can add up quickly. We had an overdose call here in town. It resulted in a total of 16 charges. There were 2 people arrested that evening. 2 other people had charges requested on them because they overdosed on narcotics. One of the people we got picked up on the warrant, the other one was hard for. I don't believe he's around Pendleton anymore. If he is, he's really good at hide and seek. So that's just one example of how those numbers were. Good month, of course. Do you have any questions?
Comment of it, Captain, on the, he helped us, did a great job, as we all know, helped us on an ambulance run here recently in the early morning hours when the wheel slumper and the drugs were involved and got on the guy's lap. We backed off, called, you were there, it was out in the county, you were there in no time at all, took care of the situation. And there you're getting a number of these kind of incidents with all people carry guns now, no permits required. Are you getting additional training? How you can keep you guys safe?
So guns have always been there. Guns
Yeah.
are always going to be there. Opinion set aside, criminals are always going to carry guns pre the new law and those. Our regular trainings, our mandated trainings, it all touch on gun stuff. As far as the law changes go, prosecutor's office sent us out an update just to educate us on it. Now it's forwarded out to our fire department. So the biggest thing is just being careful and smart. Start rushing this stuff. That's what.
How's our officer that's was in the wreck, Nate?
Officer Carpenter, I spoke to him this morning. He is doing physical therapy. A week or 2 ago when I spoke to him, he was optimistic about getting back early August. Looks like that's going to be pushed a little bit. Goes back to the doctor at some point next month and on holiday. Should hopefully be done with physical therapy at that point. So as far as that goes, we're just still getting that down and making do with what we can. But his spirits are a lot better. He was really down, obviously. He wants to get hurt. So he's doing better. He's optimistic and just ready to get better.
Good. Good to hear. Any questions or comments for the captain?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Judge let me know that he couldn't be here tonight. He sent his report in. All had a chance to look at it. Park Department. Aaron said he wasn't going to be here. That's true too. Planning Department. Hannah's here.
I am here.
Could I back a 1 minute on parks?
No, go ahead.
No.
On parks, look at our, did a great job on our website. I think it's really good. You can find even draft minutes of meetings and it's really a good presentation of all the various boards and commissions, got agendas on
Who
that.
you're talking to? They're wanting to know.
Okay. Hannah primarily.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yes.
the
I did that.
website, I'm sorry for that. You did a great job on that, but
Thanks.
there's nothing on there from the parks
Okay.
on there. Can we get that on there or there's?
We have a Parks Department page.
But on for minutes and agendas, it's not on the town's website.
It's not on the park board page. So there's a Parks
Right.
Department page and a
Mhm.
park board page.
It's not under what you have set up on the town's website.
Okay. Yeah, I can look into that for sure.
Okay, okay.
I'm not
So I know
sure.
they would have that, but it's not.
Yeah, I don't know if that's something that they want to send here for us to upload or if that's something
Yeah,
that
okay.
Bobby, because Bobby's been doing the Parks Department page.
Okay,
So I don't know if she is also responsible for the board page. I can easily,
okay. I was thinking if they
upload
can
things or
incorporate
show her how
that
to
with
do it.
that, then
They're on,
Would be good.
I can find them. Just through 2021 though. Yeah, that's where they cut off.
You're not finding 22.
No, just 2021, but I mean, there's a space for them. I guess
on
is
the
what I'm saying.
board page,
On the
Yeah.
board.
the
page,
board
yes.
page. Okay. So
So
maybe,
if we can get that on there would be,
yeah,
would be great.
2022.
We just sent out an update with the electric bills about the park. Very nice. Got a lot of positive feedback.
So, Bob, the way that's structured is the police, fire and park. They're responsible for their section of the website. I think. Captain, are you still separate and then there's an attachment?
As far as the website,
Yes.
so no, we let the old one go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they've merged over too, but they're
Okay.
still responsible for.
Mhm.
They just give it to me and I upload it. Yeah. Yeah, no problem. It's very easy once you get the hang of it, but you have to
You
go
still-
through like a 2-hour training for it. You don't want to do that.
And you're still doing a good job.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's-
Thanks.
It's a really good website.
Yeah, no,
Good piece of work.
Civic Plus is definitely the way to go.
Mhm.
Yeah, they're great. Okay, anything else? Let me get started. So you've got the building permit summary in front of you. If you have any questions, just let me know. We allocated our final amount of the Pendleton facade grant program Tuesday to Lindy Metz. She's got the Acton Academy. She's going to be rehabbing the Yellow House here on State Street. And we had our first grant applicant finish their project. It was Joanne Owens at the JT Chambers building next door. It looks amazing. She did a really great job on it. We're also active in looking for other grant programs that HPC can allot to downtown business building owners, as well as anything we might be able to get, just as a town. The HPC design guidelines are getting updated. They were created when we had our old UDO. So it references a lot of material that no longer exists. So we're working with HPC to update that. The 116, 120 West State Street, we did have the structural engineer in there, 2 weeks ago, to do a structural damage assessment report and give remediation steps for the property owner. When that report is done, we'll have a meeting with the property owner about timeline, feasibility, next steps, things of that nature.
Is he doing stuff?
Stuff, yeah.
Okay. That's fine. Yeah.
The BZA asked them to focus just on sealing the building. Whether that's putting in new windows or patching them with wood or metal, something just to seal it where there's not weather and animals getting into it anymore. It doesn't necessarily have to be permanent, just something to seal the envelope. Our UDO for Planning Commission, we're continuing to tighten up the sign guidelines, some other general errors in other areas. We're really just working to perfect that document. We have one zone request in flux that was continued from this month. And then we have one new applicant as well. As far as our subdivisions, Maplewood 5B was recorded and had a grand opening ceremony on the 8th. Cold Spring Section 2, I'm not sure what the delay is, but they haven't contacted me about updates. They're pretty much ready to go. I'm not sure if they're just waiting until construction prices go down or something like that, but they haven't wanted to start it yet. Let's see, the Falls, last lot there is close to being under contract and sold. So the next steps with that, when it's all completed, will be inspecting the roads to make sure they're in an acceptable condition before we take them over. However, those only have to be per the specs that were approved in '08. So best practices have definitely improved, but they at least at minimum have to meet the standards that were approved back then. And that's really all I've got. Any questions?
The falls,
Mhm.
speaking about the roads.
Yeah.
Do you see any problem with the way it was approved back when?
Mhm.
So do I. Okay, that's,
There were not as good practices in place, both construction world and then, here with, now we've got a lot
It's a
better
mess out
knowledge,
there.
yeah,
Yeah.
of what to do. So,
okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Any questions for Hannah? Comments? Thanks. Scott?
Thank you. So starting with my report, we received 3 RFPQ responses for the Aquatic Center. So we're gonna do, starting the 25th, 3 Mondays in a row, have them come in. Most of the all 3 proposals are, we couldn't go with them. They're too expensive. So hopefully through these interviews, we'll listen and learn and maybe find an alternative path to a aquatic center that's possible for the community. The joint paving project with Methodist Church that's going to start this week, where they're going to pave the alley when they do their parking lot. That's sort of a neat project because it's a joint project between the town and the Methodist Church. McCarty Drain design is nearing completion. We're going to put in to reconstruct the intersection of Reformatory Road and Pendleton Avenue because the culverts underneath it are in such mess. And that'll be phase 1 of that project. Phase 2 will be running the pipes from there all the way out to the railroad tracks in 67. They're behind the embeds. And then phase 3 will be going underneath the railroad tracks in 67. As you can tell or smell, the new carpet's coming in. They started Tuesday night, and they'll continue probably through next Tuesday night. If you're on your iPads there, you can see the picture of a project that the street department did on Falls Parkway. There's the
Looks
Butler
nice.
property. Yeah, it's a perfect project. It's a little project. The road was deteriorating underneath because water was standing. So we improved the drainage. The guys went in, they scooped it out, poured concrete where the road had started to fail. And then that's on our paving project list for this summer. So they'll come in and resurface that over the patch. And it made the neighborhood look better. And it's gonna make life easier for those neighbors, the property owners there. So it's a win-win all around, which is to us is a perfect project. Total investment by the town, $1,000, $500 in concrete, and $500 in the matting to prevent the erosion control, because that's such a steep hill. We needed to put that down. Had an unusual problem. I got hats off to Tracy in the billing department. She worked like a detective to figure it out. All of a sudden we had a series of water bills that came in real high, and it was confusing because they were in the area of the falls where there's a lot of watering and they put down sod. And we just, at first, until a resident came in and said, I've not been watering my lawn. We just thought they were watering. What happened is there was a programming error when we received the meters. And instead of for every gallon, it was recording 10 gallons. So their bills were quite heavy. Some of the developers are going to have a credit that they can work off for a while. Street department, which I talked about the Falls Parkway project, and the Summer Help's been doing a great job of painting around town. And I just think that little thing of repainting the yellow striping and trimming the trees that are overhanging the sidewalks and some of the side streets is really a lot of good bang for the buck. One thing that I think is really interesting with the water department, they're getting phone calls of people who live outside the town and are not hooked up. This drought has accelerated their, a lot of people are noticing their wells have been drying up over the last few years, which is going to continue to be a snowball problem as the population increases. People are going to start coming to us in droves wanting to connect to our water system because it'll cost them an extra 10 to 20,000 to drill their well deeper. And it's just going to get a bigger and bigger problem, like I said, as the population increases throughout the township. Our guys worked really hard over the last 2 years, off and on, working on Carrot Glen, and that is finally complete. So that circuit is complete at Carrot Glen. That's all I have other than the items later on in the agenda.
Any questions, or comments for Scott? Thanks, everyone. Let's go to old business. Resolution R22-3. Resolution for opposing the state gas tax. I wasn't here last month. I was telling Scott yesterday, I've missed more meetings in the last 3 months than I have in 13 years. This was on the agenda, I guess, last month.
Yeah.
So, Bob?
Yeah, we had talked about last time and so try it again. Talk to Jeff about this. We were texting back and forth on that, but anyway, Indiana is one of the few states in the country that did increase their gasoline tax. I'm not sure how many other states did, but a few. Indiana's on that list. I think now it's about 62 cents a gallon is tax on that. With the price of gas, I guess on the resolution speaks for itself, but I would still encourage us to approve this, to send a message to the state. Obviously, it's a resolution, it's a request. If we agree anyway, we didn't last time, but we try it once again to, it would be a big help to the citizens of the community, businesses in the community. If they could reduce at least sales tax on a gallon of gas, or maybe not all the tax, but at least reduce some of that, they give a benefit to the our constituents. So once again, I would request that we entertain the resolution, request to the state, to the governor, that they address the issue. They are talking about, they're gonna have a special meeting coming up within the next couple of weeks, that they could add something like this to their agenda. They'll be looking at the abortion issue, and also they want to, they're contemplating giving money back to the taxpayers, $150 and $250. I think they're talking about returning to taxpayers. That's a good thing. For the state sitting on a $5 billion plus surplus, I think they could entertain a resolution to this effect.
I'll make my comment. And to me, not raising this, all you're doing is hurting yourself on down the road, because this is what, some of this is what pays for the road repair, your gas tax. And everything costs more. It won't hurt us now, probably won't hurt us next year, but 4 years from now, not raising taxes is probably going to hurt us. I'm okay with doing it. So that's my comment.
I think they build in, I think automatically, if I have that correct, there, it bumps up with inflation, with the tax on gasoline periodically. I got that correct, Jeff?
I don't know.
There's
Right.
two components that the
They
state
build in.
controls. One of which is sales tax, which is based off of the market value of gas. The other one is the license tax, which they have the option to raise 1 cent every year through 2024. So they just raised it to the 33 cents this year. So next year it has the opportunity to go to 34 cents.
And I can
So-
certainly agree with the comment on, you need money for roads. They're expensive. I think with where we are, the price of gas, I think that is also something that the state should consider. Can they at least reduce some of the tax on the gas, at least on a temporary basis? They're kind of adding to the inflationary spiral. They keep bumping that up, and that adds to inflation as well.
I agree that gas prices are astronomical and it's painful, and it was $94 to fill up my car yesterday. And I know exactly how many miles to the gallon I get right now. But I just feel like this is outside of our scope as local municipal government. We have people at the State House Mike Gaskell, Bob Cherry, who this is like what they do. Like they have the critical mass to get this stuff passed. They have the audience to entertain it. This is way above our pay grade. This is not what we do. And I feel like trying to take on the governor and his gas tax makes us look very partisan when we try really hard to not be partisan up here.
I could agree with that, but I think it's still an opportunity to speak for your constituents on, there are a lot of complaints about the price of gas. Obviously, that's not something that we set, but I think it is an opportunity to have a voice of to the state as far as our views, if we do agree.
I don't think anybody's gonna say that they're okay with the price of gas. I mean, I think it's a foregone conclusion that we're all frustrated about it. But I think as far as going on record as the Pendleton Town Council opposing, telling the governor to repeal the gas tax, when it comes time for the community crossings grant next year, I don't want to be the municipality to pass that when they gave us $780,000 this year to repair our roads. Like, I just can't pretend that we live in a vacuum and we're gonna just say, yeah, we don't want the gas tax.
I have to agree totally with Marissa. So what I'm gonna do at this point.
Can I say something real quick?
Sure.
I agree with what Marissa has said, but also my main point is this was discussed last month and there was not a second. I don't know why this is being brought up again. So I feel like this is getting shoved down my throat.
Telling what, I didn't know until yesterday. Procedurally, it wasn't defeated.
Right. I understand all that. I understand that. But I just respectfully, there was no second made. I don't know why we are talking about it again. That's my comment.
So with that
Point
being
to consider.
said,
Mhm.
it's your resolution. You're gonna make a
Well,
motion.
It doesn't have support, so.
Okay. Do we still need to vote?
It's up to the presiding officer if you want to entertain a motion. If there's no motion at all, then we'll move on.
Okay, let's move on. Resolution R 22-05. Amending Pendleton tax allocation redevelopment area. Scott?
You want to talk?
I'll talk about the procedure. I'll
Okay.
talk about substance.
So we added a few parcels that will be underneath the TIF allocation. And these are parcels that we've identified. One is two of the parcels will probably see an increase in the assessed value. One is out off the one property that touches 13 in the town's boundaries. That's going to be the boat company, boat storage and dealership. And the other one was one that was grandfathered in when the town incorporated out west along 38, and it's a repair shop now, and they're going to start selling cars if it gets approval from the planning commission or planning department. Just site review, and then some other sporadic.
Procedurally, the redevelopment commission is tasked with identifying those parcels to be added to the TIF district. They did so at their June meeting. Pursuant to Indiana statute, that must go for the plan commission to make sure that adding those parcels to the TIF is in line with the development, the land use development code. That was passed unanimously by the plan commission. The next step is the town council. Does the town council want to see these parcels added to the TIF district? Should you pass this resolution today, it goes back to the redevelopment commission for a public hearing in August, at which time, if it passed then, it would be turned into the DLGF, the Madison County Auditor, and if all goes well, development occurs like we expect it to, the town could see some increase in money as early as 2024, more likely 2025. But that's because of the taxes are paid in arrears. But overall, this you guys have been down this road before, but you receive the difference in the value or whatever the assessed value is today. The snapshot of when this gets put in the TIF district is the base level. And then if the property goes up in assessed value, let's say it's assessed at 100 and it goes up to $200 in assessed value, the town of Pendleton gets that entire gain between 100 and 200. The bottom 100, the initial 100 is still spread among the other taxing units, just like it was before. But this other 100, half of it doesn't go to Madison County. It all goes to the town's redevelopment commission for use on the TIF funds. So that's what would happen if, you know, how plans are, but if the plans go as we expect, the development occurs, these parcels are prime spots for increase in assessed value and thus more money to the Pendleton Redevelopment Commission.
Questions or comments?
How does it impact the schools?
It doesn't have a negative impact on the schools. Now, what?
It doesn't on the growth either.
Right,
Right.
they would not share in that growth.
Right.
Now, the redevelopment commission by law can spend up to 15,000 or 15% of their TIF draws on what is deemed educational programs.
Right.
What's an educational program? Whatever the school says it is. They're the education expert. So I know of redevelopment commissions that have given TIF funds to redo diving boards at pools. Well, that's educational. Yeah, the school says it's educational. Of course it is. That's why extracurricular activities occur. So it's pretty free ranging. And so schools can, there's an out for redevelopment commissions to use that for educational programs. And that's also the reason the redevelopment commissions have a non-voting advisor appointed by the school boards to help the redevelopment commission know what the school needs. So the answer is not, it doesn't do much, but it doesn't hurt them from what they are today.
Right.
It doesn't take anything away from them.
The school could make a request for funds through the TIF district.
Yes, they can.
Or
Their advisor could do it. They can come to the
Right.
redevelopment commission, and unlike most like private industries or even governmental units, I mean, even the Pendleton Town Council can't ask for money for the redevelopment commission, TIF money for projects that don't relate to the TIF district. But the law has a carve out for educational programs specifically for this, I think what you're going at.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any more questions or comments? If not, I make a motion on resolution R 22-05. Okay, the motion is second.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Okay, and that is a resolution, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Resolution is passed. Resolution R 22-06, acceptance of certain Madison County legal drains. Scott?
So there's 4 legal drains that are, the county drainage board has identified as wholly in our boundaries, so the beginning and end of those legal drains. This is the beginning of a discussion and action that may expand to other drains, but these are the first 4 because they're simple and almost obvious because they are totally in the town, and because of that we now have a drainage fee that we can actually start taking care of these drains. They've not been maintained in decades. And some of them, quite frankly, the Pendleton drain, we always thought it was the town's. The county came back and said, no, it's actually ours. We've been doing maintenance on it without their permission. But not that they got upset, but it's just cleaner administration if we will be able to do a more proactive job of maintaining these drains. There's a map here that just passed out. If you're curious where the 4 drains are, the A.B. Taylor drain is the drain that's in the that basically runs through the subdivision across from Brown Pool. It starts in the little field right there where 36 comes into 67 between the Pizza Hut and dentist office now. And that's good timing because we will eventually put a path along there that'll connect to the path that's going to be constructed by NDOT along 67 their Eaton Way. The other one is the McCarty Drain, which is As you know, it's been a joint project between us and the county. And eventually NDOT and CSX to fix the McCarty drain. The other one is Claude and Lillian Jones drain. That is out by Huntsinger Farm. That's got, yeah.
It's on the back.
Okay. That is, the reason I'm having trouble with this is because the county cannot find the legal description. But if you look on the back of this map, you'll see roughly where the Claude and William Jones drain runs. The fourth one was Calvin Brown, which is on the east side of Huntsinger Farms, basically in that. All of these, I don't think we have a legal description of. Jeff and I have talked. We don't find that. It's prescriptive anyway, location of the easement. So that is not going to be an issue if the county is not able to forward us the legal descriptions of these. So it's been offered to us. If we accept, then the transition is.
Is that what you want?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Now, are they gonna, I know they had there's money in there. Are they gonna transfer the money for those
Yes, in
drains?
one of the drains, there is money. A.B. Taylor was reconstructed in the 80s. So I think there was money. The other ones have not been collecting money. There's not been maintenance. And as we grow population, if we don't maintain those drains, it's just gonna be a nightmare for us.
Should we not have the legal description before we take these?
I think we're okay on that, Willie.
I have a question about this A.B. Taylor drain. Where'd you say it started?
There's an inlet. Okay, you know where 36 comes into 67?
Right.
If you go across the street, there's a field there, an open field. Pizza Hut to the south, dentist office
Right.
to the north. There is an inlet, and unfortunately, it's not designed to handle NDOT water coming off of 67, but it has for the last probably 10 years because NDOT's not maintained their culverts on their part. It has been taking a lot of water, but part of the reconstruction will be to 67 will be for NDOT to fix that. So that drain should work a lot better.
Reason I asked about the legal description, the drain right next to the railroad track and my old dealership. Yeah, I paid for years on that. And it was the A.B. Taylor drain. And the
Yeah.
field across the road from me by CVS, it is affected by that drain. So I pay on that property also.
Right, so if you look at the map, the blue lines are the watershed area. And you can see what the watershed area of the A.B. Taylor drain is. So if you have a parcel in that, then your water is contributing to it. And your water that you're talking about runs off and runs in a ditch that goes along the east side of the railroad tracks.
Right.
And then heads down and goes behind that subdivision. I think it's called the Deshaun
Central Ways, east, west.
Yes. And then all that water that's collected from 67 through the subdivision collects in that ditch and then heads to Fall Creek.
A.B. Taylor's the one you said has money in it.
No, yes,
Yes.
Taylor has one.
Willie's
Not a
money.
lot.
Willie's money in it.
Any other questions or comments?
Make a motion to approve R 22-06.
Motion to Second,
I'll second.
motion second to approve resolution R 22-06. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Pass.
That does by Florida's, or by Indiana law, create an account for the clerk treasurer. And I'll get with Willie and his staff on that, but that does create a separate, like a, effectively when we get the county's money to put it into. Okay.
Next one is ordinance 22-26, amending ordinance 20-19, electric and water development charges. Scott?
Okay, the first time we had this issue come up with electric, the system development fee that involved a non-residential property. A non-residential property. I realized that we had probably, I had probably not stated what I wanted to say. It was basically, it would continue to be $2 a square foot past the 4,000 square feet. So we're reducing that to basically 50 cents after it gets past the 4,000 square foot mark on a commercial building. As you remember, residential is a flat fee at 2,000. And then anticipating maybe some issues with water on larger structures. We went ahead and said, look, if it's a commercial structure and it's quite large, and depending on the size of that and what they use water for, which is hard to predict. You know, you have large buildings that use a lot of water, i.e. Tractor Supply. You could have a smaller building, but they use a ton of water because they're creating medical test tubes, right? So section 3 on the back page, that just gives staff flexibility to come up with a reasonable system development fee for a large project.
Questions? Can I have a motion to approve ordinance 22-26?
So moved.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Ordinance,
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules and have the second reading on ordinance 22-26.
I'll second.
I have a motion second to suspend the rules. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same.
Make a motion to approve 22-26 on second reading.
I'll second that.
I got a motion and a second to approve 22-26 on second reading. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Ordinance passed. Community Crossings matching grant paving bid award recommendations.
So we received bids on our paving project, which is a community crossings project. We received 701,000. Close to that and change. Lots. And the bids came in like everything else. They're high right now. We budgeted, I think, 200,000. So right now, 250,000. So we're gonna have to come up with a little bit more money to complete the project from maybe TIF funds, because the bid was $1,089,450.89. That was from E&B Paving. And so I recommend this. It was quite clearly the lowest bidder. And before I forget, Mr. President, if it passes and approved, we need you to sign it. We need to get moving on it. I have the copy here.
Everybody okay with that? We vote on that?
I'll make a motion, we approve the community crossings matching grant paving bid.
I'll second.
I got a motion and a second All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Thank you. I don't like the way that's wrote up on the agenda. MOU for the MS4 partnership, Madison County.
Right, this is more informational than anything. You know, with stormwater under federal requirements, we have to do certain things. Part of that is education outreach type of things. And so we're part of a partnership in the county, and it's based, the fee is based on population. We're only 4%, doesn't seem like it, but we're only 4% of the inside the town proper, 4% of the county's population. So our whopping fee is only $400, $407. So I think it would be good if town council just goes ahead and just does a voice vote to approve it. That way, when we do our annual report, because we're going through a process right now, it's our notice of intent and our application for a general permit to discharge water into Fall Creek. Town council.
Make a motion to approve the MOU.
I have a motion. Can I have a second, please?
I'll second.
A motion second to approve the MOU for the MS4 partnership. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Last item on the new business is Safe Haven Baby Box. I'm gonna let Bob talk.
Thank you, Mr. President. You may have seen an article in the paper here recently that Edgewood was looking at Safe Haven Baby Box for their community. Saw that, and I think I sent a text to all you good folks about would be something that maybe we should explore here. I talked to Chris Snowdine, fire chief, about that. He's very much up to speed on that. He's been working with Julie Schnapp, who's here this evening as well, and has done a lot of research on this particular project. I think something we should take a good hard look at. If we're aware of the Supreme Court ruling here recently, you may see more of possibly more of a need for a box like this. I think you're going to see a lot of communities are probably going to be contemplating, should they consider putting in a Safe Haven Baby Box. As I understand from Chris, Julie may have more information, but it's like a $20,000 footprint to do that. These have been around for the last 5 or 6, 7 years in different communities. I would hope if we do this, I would hope it'd be something that you would never use. You have it, but it would never be used. But if there's a need for it, if you can save one infant's life with this, it would be more than worth the investment, in my view. Julie, I know, has done a lot of research on this. I asked her to come this evening if she had any comments that might be applicable to this, to answer some questions. And you've done a lot of good research on this.
So about a year and a half ago, I've really been watching it for about a year and a half. This lady that has started it, this Monica Kelsey, she's incredible, and they've done a lot of stuff. When Carmel got their box, I started watching close. Couple things, and we have the stuff, we probably need to get it to you. They have the program, it's done, it's set, it's been going for 6 years, it's already tested, it's already approved. We have Safe Haven baby laws that we need to make sure we all understand and know. And because sometimes people don't understand that, the fire chief is on board, ambulance crew, everyone's on board. And basically what happens is the fundraising happens, they want us to take the documents to the attorney, but the community, make sure that our attorney feels good about it. And then we contact them. We've already been in contact with Safe Haven Baby Boxes. They're excited that we want to do it, that we want to be involved in it. And then all the fundraising money actually goes through their organization. So we're not collecting the money. So let's say the town comes up with some money, or businesses, or however we collect the money that's needed, it goes through there. All the money goes through them. So we won't be holding it. I won't be holding it. And it's up to about 20,000 to put it all in, start to finish. The fee yearly is $300 to maintain it. And so the quick process is, the purpose of it is to make sure that there's not a child that doesn't have a place to be surrendered without legal prosecution for the parent or guardian, whoever has the child. And so the one thing I learned that I think is really neat is that when a mother does open the box to go for baby for whatever reason, there's information that there is for them, free counseling, free legal, they have all the resources and they have up to 30 days to change their mind and work with the resources through Safe Haven to try to get the, be reconciled if there's an issue that made them need to, maybe there's a safety, maybe the woman's feeling unsafe from an abusive situation. She thinks the best thing to do is put her baby in there, but then she gets resources and they can reconnect the mother and the baby, which is incredible too. I think that's really neat. And so they're not just about take the baby and the mother's, out. For the fire department, now that we are going to be a fire territory, Safe Haven comes in and trains the fire and ambulance personnel. The minute the box is opened, it signals to 911 and it's on automatic dispatch. And as soon as the door shuts, there's a second dispatch. And so it's all tested and it's pretty cool system. And then the fire personnel will get the baby from the inside. Once the box is shut, you can't open it again. It's all temperature controlled, all that stuff. And then the fire personnel get it from the inside. And then once the baby, there's a baby that has been left, then you're calling social services, you have a relationship with them and kind of go from there. So the whole idea is, it's not always your community, but it could be high school kid, college kid, a bad situation for somebody that's going through. Hospitals, fire departments are the ones that are really approving to do it. I think our fire department has a big desire to do it. The fire department now has an auxiliary, which we used to have a long time ago, and now it's kind of redone. And I think the auxiliary is going to kind of jump in and want to be a part of this too. So our process is simple. They've already said we're excited about it. Make sure legal says it's good. We let them know we want to do the fundraiser. If we get money from you guys, know of any sources for money, we want that. The sooner we can get the money, the sooner we get the box in. And so it's all determined. It has to be built the same way. Everything's done. And then the only fee is a $300 annual fee after that. So it's pretty
Great. Okay.
inexpensive. So
Thank you. Would it work if we do this as far as for us, can raise $20,000 roughly to do that? For us to be a part of that, I don't know if we would look at, we're going to request donations. I know in talking with you and also
it's
Tammy
however
Bowman.
it's however the community wants to do it. So if we want to say, gosh, we know as a town, maybe we have some resources and the town's resources want to give, $10 or whatever it is you want to give, and whatever isn't collected, it just goes to a community thing. The other thing I wanted to tell you is there's a 24/7 hotline. So it's also a pregnancy distress line.
Yeah.
So not all that happens is just because they're gonna drop a baby off. Maybe there's women in distress and they have the hotline to call too. So it's just providing a great service. Carmel's quickly had 3 babies dropped off. Quickly. And
Okay.
so, and you don't know how many hotline calls, so and it may not be our community, it may be someone from another community that hears that there's one available here, and so you don't know where the babies will come from. We pray to God we don't need it, like you said, but if they do, we hope they'll use it. So.
Yeah, you have that available. Yeah.
Who's gonna take the lead on this? Bob and you?
So we already, the auxiliary already has the lead on it, so we were already working on it, and when Bob talked to Chris, so that works out great. So we want to work in conjunction. I know Marissa's super interested, so we want all parties involved. And as far as going on that, all I need to know is for fire department and for the town, to make sure that if our town attorney or someone's just gonna look at it, it says have an attorney review the documents before you start. And then we just tell them we want to fundraise. And then we're gonna get $20,000 in 3 minutes, like.
I think we probably raised it fairly quickly.
Yeah.
A lot of people would be willing to make a donation.
And then from the rest of it, you're just following there's 10-step procedure
Mhm.
and all of that. And then there'll be a procedure from there. So, I think the auxiliary group will probably be the lead on it. With whoever from the council that's interested wants to also be a part of that. And then, and working with the chief with the approval of the town and the attorney of what we're doing. So.
Do you have that information you could give to Jeff?
I have an extra copy right here for
All
him.
right.
And then the council, I think a few of you have the information that I have here, and I'll give this to Jeff tonight.
I've used these, but I've read the same things in Lawrence and Elwood who've
Mhm.
approved these things. So I'll be happy to look at it
Yeah, Just
again,
make
but
sure.
Okay.
I'll give you my card if you want to email it to me.
Yes. And they just want to make sure that we've had an attorney read it. So they want to make sure like the Julie Ship's not coming in, raising money, doing this without the town and the fire department's approval. That's one of their requirements
Yeah,
for us.
that's good.
When you answer back, Jeff, with a check, okay?
Yes. If there is funds anywhere that we know of, I can't think of a better place to put it than into resources like this, especially as we grow. So if you guys know of any resources within some of the funding you guys have, let us know. And then whatever we don't have, we will definitely fundraise. that.
Okay, thank you, Julie. Is this something that we could, Jeff, we have the impact fees revenue? Is that something that we could explore, contemplate using?
You can't do that.
You can't do that?
Yeah, those have to be directed directly to the roads on the.
Okay, okay,
But
all right.
I'd like to see what fundraising we can do for that, and then possibly after we see what shortcomings, maybe we come up with something, there's something we do town-wise.
Because we can't use
And-
our funds on this. So if you could do some independent fundraising and then have us close the gap if there is one, I think that would be a
I think it'd be a
palatable
good thing.
solution for everybody.
Are we looking at a time frame here? We're talking about it now. I don't know. Carmel's had 3. Yeah, yes,
Yeah.
right.
So I think you're talking about for fundraising.
Well, if
Pretty
once
much,
the
yeah,
funds are
we're-
secured,
Well,
then
we gotta,
Right.
it had, Julie has already said,
We
it's gotta be
gotta,
approved
yeah,
through that before
Yeah.
we do any of that,
Mhm.
so.
Yeah,
So
it'll
that
be a
happened,
quick
yeah.
process with him reviewing. He's gonna, our attorney's gonna say it's fine as long as our town manager and our council has no issues with it. Our chief is already good with it. They just want to make sure everybody is notified and on board and blesses it. And then we just do our thing.
and then I guess get with the fire territory board also, since it's gonna be attached there, let them see their thoughts on it.
Yeah, I mean, I know everyone.
I'm sure it is, but that way it's on the,
Yes, it's on the official.
official.
Does it work if we get all this done? So some folks, I can see where maybe some businesses or individuals would like to participate, write a check. And can we structure that? We get this worked out through the auxiliary.
Yeah.
Or maybe we can get some information out how people can participate if they want to.
And they have a way through, say, Haven, that they want us to structure the fundraising.
Okay.
Yeah, so they have some
Mhm.
restrictions. so.
That's good.
Thank you.
Before we end tonight, I'd like to invite Cal Wilson up to, if we're done talking about Safe Haven Box, about a project he's got going on here in town.
Oh, they do? Yeah.
Yeah, so like Shane said, I'm Cal Wilson. I have met quite a few of you already. Kind of talked about our project a little bit. It's called the Athletics. We're building the small softball training facility, golf down at the current ball diamonds. Started the project 2.5 years ago. Budgeting process. Moving along pretty good. We ran into a couple issues here and there. We had a pandemic, record inflation, but outside of that, nothing too unforeseen. We discovered the ground was pretty terrible. So the reason I'm here today is I just wanted to start a discussion amongst you guys, council, department, town manager, just about possible ways to push us across the finish line. And I'm gonna, as you can see on your iPad there, I think you can see it, right? Okay, so it's a PDF. Okay. So I'm gonna touch on a few things that, as the project's taken shape, it's become more and more community focused to borderline not-for-profit kind of style. So I just wanted to start the discussion with you guys, show you what we're gonna do, who we've been talking to, how it's gonna benefit the town, the park, the community as a whole. First thing, we're gonna offer free facility use for the Champions League year-round. I know that's, to us, it's a big deal. We run the One Glove Foundation where we fund that Champions League every year. Stays fully funded, and they get certain Saturdays every month. They get a plan. They get 6 of them. They get rained out. They get 5. They rained out twice. They get 4. Well, now they can move inside. They keep playing their games. So on top of that, we want to offer discounted rates for any called Pendleton Junior League. So you got baseball, softball, and football. Discounted rates and access to the facility that people from outside of our community coming in, families coming in, will not have the same access that the Pendleton community members will. I think it could be something that just takes, the league's been growing like crazy, and they can just take it to the next level. It's one of those things where a lot of our community right now, to do what we're gonna offer, they're driving to Westfield, they're driving to Anderson. It's kind of absurd that we don't offer this shit. I remember driving 2 or 3 days a week up to North Anderson, and I would have loved to have driven 7, 8 minutes as opposed to 27, 20 minutes. So, yeah, the discounted rates keeps players involved longer. More players, more revenue for the town. We've talked with Parks Department about offering free use for spaces on all kinds of events. One that just came to mind as I was talking there is Gobble Wobble registration. They want to implement weather. Well, just use the facility. So he identified quite a few different events. Staying on community focus, we're going to have quite a few families coming in from outside of the community. That's good. The town of Pendleton's incredible. Born and raised here, I love it here. Moved away for a few years, came back. When people see it, they really love it. We're bringing a lot of people here that are from Ohio, Fort Wayne, but a lot of Fishers, Noblesville, Carmel, so let's try to do this. We're going to offer free facility use for the baseball, softball, and golf teams associated with high school. So talking to Chad Smith, he's got a lot of really good ideas, and he's not going to pay you. So these teams need to come in. It's not in the budget. They'll have to use any of the alumni money. That all can stay there. Partnering with the men's club and the women's club, it is going to be basically a small indoor driving range. You have 4 nets. You can hit golf balls in at the top net, so you can hit from side to side. We want the men's club, the women's club, and then the high school golf teams to be able to come in and use it. They're going to get priority access, and they're going to get discount rates as well. Kind of touched on this spotlight on Pendleton. You guys can read it there. Got 50%, like I said, but it will be 250 unique families every week. The most exciting piece, I think, for the town and the park are revenue opportunities that definitely capture, and we're talking money to me that's pretty substantial. I put a couple examples in there. We were partnered with a guy by the name of Jim Wardell. He keeps 12 to 18 team to be trainings throughout the year. He'll run tournaments for them. Well, those tournaments aren't here because there's not an indoor facility. And we have fields here, but we don't have the other necessary training pieces. So this is just a real quick math example where, you know, just for that weekend, instead of $13,000 to $15,000 coming in, that is really on the low side. Really on the low side. So that stuff can turn into $20,000 to $25,000 a weekend outside work coming to town. Same with showcase camps. Showcase camp is where families drive from all over. I mean, we're driving to Illinois, Ohio, Michigan for showcase camps. And we place great hit indoors. So we'll be able to partner with the park and town on that as well. So keeping it brief, I just want to start this discussion with you guys, just looking for creative ways. I'm not coming out here saying, hey, I want $100,000 check from town. That doesn't make any sense. But if there's something you guys know about that I don't, I'm not a massive developer. I'm not, I'm not giving up my day job. This is a passion project. So I do think this is going to be something that will benefit from for a long time. And I'm excited to get it there, but there are a lot of unforeseen problems that have happened for the last few years. And we're just want to get the ball rolling. And appreciate you guys giving us the time. You guys have any questions on that?
Kind of looking through, there's a lot of good things.
Yeah.
Lots. And I hope it, excuse me, hope it works.
Yeah.
I really do. I think it'd be good for the town, good for the park. I think it will bring people in. I think it's a good deal, but it's gotta work.
Yeah.
It's gotta work.
How big a facility you talking about building?
It's 120 by 80.
1 by 80.
It's,
And you-
it's, the walls are up. And you're more than welcome, we can take a tour anytime. It's at the point where a lot of unforeseen costs outside of COVID, outside of the crazy inflation rates. So there's just, you know, so we're just
Like
trying to
you're
get it across the finish line. I just
Like you're
want
beating your
to
head.
get you guys thinking about it, and talking about it, like, hey, maybe we can do this, or here's an idea. So.
And the people that you're gonna be bringing in to do the training and all this, they're ex-professional athletes, ex-college, minor league players. I mean,
Yeah.
the people that he has coming in to do this facility it's a really, really good opportunity for this town. And it's just gonna take our sports programs at the school and at the ballpark. It's gonna jump it big time. I mean, if we're gonna be within 10 years, 50,000 people, I think it's something the town needs to look at. I know Cal personally, and I mean, I've watched him play baseball since he was 5 or 6 with my brother. So, I mean.
We won't hold that against you.
Yeah.
You mentioned tourneys, games inside.
No, not games inside.
Okay,
It would be a partnership with the park, utilizing the fields,
okay.
but also to pull that kind of stuff off, unless you have 20 fields, you need to be able to have teams, you gotta run them like this, teams
Right.
on and off. And have an indoor facility, that's where teams getting loose, getting batting practice, getting their arms loose, they have their on the field. We've got 10 minutes of field prep, so you can run a 10-team tournament off one field. So instead of putting in another 3 fields.
Yeah.
To be able to make that, 20, 30,000 a weekend. Use the indoor space, get them in and out, 4 to 5 games a day.
When you talking, your company would put on these tourneys
I would like to partner with the Parks Department.
and a percentage type deal.
And we can run them. And we can also teach folks how to run. That way it's, I think that the partnership piece would be the best way to do it. We can do it
Sure.
and then just rent the field, which would be great, but I think the field's rent for $75 a game.
It's not much.
Yeah, and field rental's not much. So you're talking $75 a game over 10 games, so maybe $750 as opposed to if you're running it together on the low side, $75, so 10 times just for that one term.
Any questions?
You mentioned real quick on
Yeah.
the, on the possibility with golf being included, you mentioned nets in your presentation, but in this, what I have on the iPad, it says that you're looking at a golf simulator also?
Yeah, so we're gonna have a simulator and a putting green.
Okay.
There'll be a mezzanine in there. Half of it is for parent viewing. The other half will be a simulator putting green, which we have a really good golf program, but that's a whole nother group of kids that they're shipping out to Noblesville to go hit balls in the winter. I don't want them to pay for it, but the way we're going now, just the way the top structure is, it's gonna be hard to kind of keep the community focused. There's a lot of money to be had. Figure out unique ways to get there. Let all these teams. The high school, they say that.
Yeah.
The high school teams. And then also offer the discounts if you're part of the junior baseball, softball, the youth golf programs.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ken.
Yeah.
Is this one of your ball players here?
I've known Cal for most of his life. I'm really surprised he didn't say that, but start bragging about winning the 19-man shootout at the golf course. I'm sorry. I don't know how we got through that.
That later, that later.
So Aaron and I, Marissa and Scott met with Cal a few months back. And he kind of walked through some of the hardships that he ran into that were not expected. Talked about some ideas that Cal came to ago. Had unanimous consensus that we want to work with Cal, we want to help Cal. Shane and I have been having an ongoing conversation for the last couple of months about how to use the sports complex more often. Todd Miller runs the sports complex. It's very baseball oriented. She has educated me on the value in softball tournaments and what we're basically losing out on. Part of that has to do with the fields and having grass in fields, which I didn't know was a problem. Shane enlightened me on that. We're planning on making some changes to the fields, so we can start having softball tournaments. So Cal came presented to the park board, what his partner was, and how involved in softball tournaments he is. It kind of brought the conversation with Shane home for me is this is a perfect opportunity. There's no question the park board wants to support Cal, but the position we're in is we can't really help him and have him help us. And we don't have the ability to help him get going. He was a little more specific at the park board about the amount of money he was looking for. As the park board, we can't help him with that. We can't help him with the abatements or anything like that, but we certainly, as a park board, using the sports complex, it's a great facility, obviously, but it's way underused. And talking about Shane, he's beat me to death with how underused the sports complex is for the last couple of months, and I get it. And Cal said the same, Aaron said the same, Todd agrees. So we're kind of at this perfect point. So anything, I'm kind of like Cal, anything you guys can do to help Cal get open, that is going to be very, very beneficial for the park and for the community. So I can, on behalf of the park board, we all fully support Cal. And so hopefully we can be creative and help him get open. So, thank you.
And if anybody's ever been through Noblesville or Westfield in the summertime knows how many people come in for these tournaments. So the businesses in town are just they're gonna be packed every day.
Green Park is putting in 300 apartments next to the baseball.
Right across the street,
I
yeah.
just did the lighting work on it. So that's not by chance. That's not because that those conflicts. People want to be there.
Yep.
Well, and once it's open, you can get corporate sponsorships like the high school did to keep it going, but again, it's getting it open,
Mhm.
which is, I think is a huge asset for the community. We need it.
Brian, while I've got your attention here, just a little bit off that subject. I've traveled all over several states with 6 grandsons playing baseball everywhere. We are one of the very, very few places where I've ever been. They have attorney and they don't charge to get in. I think we're losing money, but not, even if it's just $1 a car or something. I mean,
Don't be ashamed.
no, no.
The way that I've talked to Brian about doing this, because the way the traffic flow is down Huntsville Road is,
Yeah.
instead of charging per person or per car, you add a fee onto that. So if it's $300 for the team to be in there, you're gonna charge $150 to $200 a gate fee. And it's gonna be on the tournament fee. So that team's paying, let's say $500 to get in that tournament, but that's paying a gate fee on top of it. So you have your initial fee to play in the tournament, and then there's gonna be a gate fee for spectators. So you're gaining extra money that
Oh, yeah.
way.
Mhm.
Until we can either add on or do whatever we can, there's just no way to charge per car. I mean, we can eventually charge per person, but then, we're gonna have to build a fence around and have to corral into 2 to 3 entrances to be able to charge like Granite Park
Mhm.
does and all the other, facilities you've been to. Yeah.
Bracelets. and everything.
Yeah,
And the problem we run into with at baseball tournaments down there, there's so much traffic coming in, the change exactly right. When we just have middle school games there, they charge, and or started getting calls from the police department saying you can't have this traffic lined up to get in, but that's the only access. We need access of 67 is what we need. And then we could certainly charge, but just having a middle school game that causes such a traffic problem by stopping cars and charging them but that's the answer.
Yeah.
So,
And when you're doing some like a middle school game, and Parks bringing in $75, it doesn't make a lot of sense to set something up. Charge it, you might make another $150, but if you're making $15,000 for those 2 days, set up a traffic pattern and pay a couple people to monitor this and help this flow. It changes everything.
Spishers at Billericay, that's what they do. They charge a flat fee for the tournament, and then they have a gate fee for, like Cal has on his presentation, like 1.5 people per up to 12 kids, so there's just a fee that goes along with it.
Billericay's great, because when I had the older grandsons, the younger ones went to the splash pad behind it. You got them all taken care of.
Yeah, exactly.
It's great.
But it'd be kind of, I think the way we've talked to be, that's be the easiest concept for us to do, to generate that extra income for a gate fee.
We have all our local travel teams. They're going to Evansville, they're going everywhere, because we have nothing here. And our all-star team, we're gonna do one little tournament in Hamilton, but everything else is everywhere else, instead of us hosting more here.
Any other comments? Thanks, Cal. Any other public input? If not, meeting's adjourned.
Do it right now.
Willie.
That's
My first.
Oh, what section?
You're in the road,
I don't have it right here.